I think there's a lot that hands can teach us, not just in art, but in life. Maybe they speak to our personality, or the passage of time. I'm going to walk you through the process of painting this hand and things to consider along the way. I'll have a complete list of materials at the end of the video, so stick around for that. So without further ado, we'll begin. As is usually the case, I like to have some sort of drawing on the surface. I find that by doing this, I can put all my efforts into the painting process. Every artist will have their own way of doing things. I just find this way to work the best for me. So I'm choosing an area of the hand to start. There's not any rhyme or reason as to why I chose this spot. I like to work from dark to light. This was a more shadowed area of the hand that I felt like I could get right early on. For those of you who are just starting out with oils, I would recommend to begin your painting like this. I think you need those dark areas painted in first to give you some context for the rest of the color and values. For the start of this painting, I was also using this tiny brush. Now, it's not all the time that I begin a painting with a small brush like this, but for this particular painting, I was noticing a lot of subtle shifts in color, and I thought that using a smaller brush would be more appropriate. It's definitely not what I would recommend for all paintings, but I think it's a case-by-case basis. I like to get a background in fairly early as well. There's a lot of reasons for this, but the most important one is dealing with the edges. If you're trying to go for a convincing sense of realism, your edges are so important. If you've been with me on my Instagram and seen my videos over there, I've talked about edges before. There's so much that hinges on the quality of those edges that I really want to make a separate video just talking about this. So let me know in the comments below if something like that would be interesting for you. So as you can see, rather than working on all parts of the hand at once, I try to go sort of piece by piece, finishing the thumb first, and using a bit of paint thinner on the brush to create some abstraction in the background. In addition to controlling your edges, the other advantage of painting in the background as soon as possible is the ability to see forms start to emerge and the light start to come through. The contrast of this darker background against the lighter areas of the finger is really going to help to bring this illusion all together. It's also nice to place this in a sense of space, so it's not just a hand floating on a piece of canvas paper. Another frequent question that I get asked quite often is how to mix certain skin tones. So leave me a comment if you'd also like to see a video like that. As a way to heighten this sense of glow that I was seeing in the hand, I intentionally painted the colors a bit more saturated than I normally would. I find that I can gray off a color a lot easier than I can add intensity to a dead color, so to speak. But speaking of grayed off colors, before I start a painting like this, I'll go through and mix a wide variety of different grays. Some more red, some more blue, and I really find that by doing this, it saves me a lot of time in the painting process. There is one gray color that I didn't pre-mix, and it's one of the more helpful colors in this painting. It's made by the paint company Old Holland, and the paint is called Warm Gray Light. I find it to be an incredibly helpful color at not only graying a mix that is too saturated, but it also doesn't change or alter the value too much either. No, they're not paying me to say this, but I just find this to be a really useful color in portraits. So right now I'm using a bit of paint thinner to thin down the oil paint and use a bit of a splatter technique. I like to do this in certain areas to add a bit of liveliness or texture. And again, those that have been with me on my Instagram and watch my videos know how much I stress the importance of your values in the painting. If realism is your goal in the painting, then you should be constantly checking your values. So during the process, I care much less on whether or not the color is accurate and much more on whether or not the color is too dark or too light. It makes it a little bit difficult when a beginning artist using oil paint and they want to know how to mix a specific color. But I think what you should be more worried about is trying to get the value, the lightness and darkness of the color right. The thing that you should be keeping in mind is that color can be whatever you want it to be, and a convincing sense of realism relies on other things and not so much color. So as I'm laying in the paint in this finger, I wanted to share a little trick that I use to soften the edges. So I find a soft-haired brush, and while the paint is fresh, I find it really nice to blend these tones together. This results in a softer, more lifelike effect. So as I approach this part of the painting, I'm trying to be a little bit more loose with my brush strokes. After working on the fingers for a while, it was a nice change of pace to start to work on a different area, something where I didn't have to worry or get caught up in the details so much. It does bring up an interesting dilemma that faces every artist: how to create a painting that doesn't appear to be forced or overly detailed, while at the same time trying to create an interesting piece or an illusion for the viewer. I would like to discuss that a little bit further, but maybe we'll save that for a future video. So back to the painting process. The colors that are really helping me out a lot here is alizarin crimson, permanent red light, and that warm gray light from Old Holland. It is important to note that these colors that I share with you at the end of the video are completely interchangeable. So the colors or the brands that I like may not be something that works for you. But that is the beautiful thing about art, is everything is unique and personal. I remember having a lot of fun painting this area of the hand. As I mentioned before, it's a nice break from the little details in the fingers. And as long as I'm getting the value relatively close, I can have a lot of fun playing around with color. I liked playing around with different warmer tones or cooler tones. It's nice to work on an area that's just a mass of colors. Even for myself, it's hard sometimes not to get caught up in details that you see. Whenever I'm facing that problem, I can usually fix it by just working on a different area for a little bit to take my mind off it. Almost like a little reset button. That's usually a good thing to do so you don't feel like you are losing sight of the big picture. So as we near the finishing stages of this painting, I really want to get some feedback from you all. I would really appreciate if you could leave me a comment in the comment section below. First of all, letting me know if you enjoyed this video. And please let me know what you'd like to see in a future video. Topics to discuss, techniques to talk through. If you have made it this far in the video, I so very much appreciate you taking the time to sit and watch me paint. I'm so appreciative of everybody's support with me just starting my YouTube channel. So I'll let you enjoy the rest of the video without me talking. Thank you so much again. We'll see you in the next one.